string, very thin, very precise, very, very Japanese, that has a little well of ink, and so you stretch it out, and it's now got ink on it, and you go snap, and you get this very beautiful straight, very fine ink line. And then you take your really fine Japanese side, you hand cut right on that ink line. Now, in the States, and also in Europe, we use chalk lines. Chalk lines are, same principle. It's a piece of string that's got some chalk all over it, and so when you stretch it and you snap it, you got a straight line. But that snap line is fat, right? So there's a lot of variance. Where is the actual line? The Japanese woodworking tradition is wonderful. Yeah, but here I am working with particle board and stuff like that, so why do I really care about the Japanese principles? Well, I do, because I just care about these things. All right, so I'm pretty sure I have found my center point between the center of this upriser and the center of that upriser. And I can confirm this by triangulation. So if I take my tape measure here and I bring it down to here, if these two measurements from point to point are more or less the same, within a millimeter or two, I have really found the center. So I've got 24 and a half here, and if I go this way, and again, tape measures are not the most accurate thing, but I seem to, it looks like 24 and a half. Let's put a straight edge on it. Of course, just the physicality of this prevents me from being, like crazy accurate, because, shit, I can't fit this in. Can't fit this in. But again, I'm going to go from my 0 here to maybe this point here, and now I'm looking at the front surface. That's 24 and a half. And now can I flip this in some way? Okay, now I have to read upside down. 24 and a half. So I think this mark is actually, I've double checked it, I've triple checked it. I think this mark is pretty much true. Now I've got something of a flat surface here, and I know I want to bring my hunker out from there. So again, I'm going to use my square, and I'm going to draw a line here and see this way, and see if, so that I have a reference all along here. And I am using ink, a big Sharpie, one of my favorite tools ever, because it's not going to rub away, and I can see it with my old man eyes. Okay, so I've marked my center of this 48, and I'm going to take my adjustable square, and I'm going to do this. Okay, I got my 48. I'm going to draw a line here. And now I'm going to flip it to this side, and I know my square is square as hell. And align that with my first line. And now I got a line. Can you see that? A line and a line. And that's like wicked square. I know I want to bring this out this way. I really kind of want to bring it all the way back, as far back as I possibly can, because I want this area here on my instrument to also be playable. Some tight strings, playing on the other side of the bridge. It's kind of nice. And so, yeah, I think this is going to go something like this. And then again from my center points here, which I will mark, within a millimeter or so. Of course, I want this side and this side to be equidistant, right, for my tuners. Now I can always take my bridge, and I can do this, right? I can always do this or something like that for intonation. But I really want to start with my substrate being as absolutely rock solid and square as possible. And because from square you can get unsquare, but from unsquare it's really hard to get back to square. All right, so here we go. I'm going to again use my straight edge now. I'll show you from this side. And I'm going to go from point to point. And what does this measure? Well, I'm going to go to inches again. It's 11 inches. It's like 27 and 9 millimeters. 27 centimeters and 9 millimeters. You know, what kind of pain in the butt is that? It's pain in the butt. That was actually 10 3/4. I'm saying that point to point here is 10 and a half. Yeah, give myself a little bit of leeway. 10 and a half, 26 centimeters and 4 millimeters. 26 and a half. Looks pretty good to me. And now I'm eyeballing it, right? But it's close enough, 26 and a half. So I'm actually going to write it down. 26 and a half. So when I'm working in millimeters and centimeters, I'm going to use 0.5, right? Because I measured that originally. But when I'm working in English, it will always be a fraction, 26 and a half. I'm just inventing that rule off the top of my head. So I need to go 26 and a half back in inches, or no, 10 and a half inches. Whoops, yeah, okay, I just totally said the wrong thing. It's 10 and a half inches, it's 26.5 millimeters, more or less. I mean, your measurements will vary. 10 and a half, 10 and a half. And, you know, I am just going to mark it right onto my instrument because I think it's actually going to make the instrument more interesting to look at in many ways. So I need 10 and a half over here, or 26 and a half. 26 and a half. 26.5. So that's where this hunker's got to go. That's where this hunker's got to go. From here to here, 10 and a half. It needs to be centered on my center mark. Here to here, 10 and a half. So it does seem, it's a little bit off, right? I just glued some junk together. But what I'm really trying to do is get my center to center exactly the same. So I'm thinking that here I am. Looks good. 10 and a half. 10 and a half, or flip it. 26, I'm looking for, I think it was 26 and a half. Yeah, looks about right, 26 and a half. Other side from center to center. 26 and a half. You know, don't forget, you got this thing called a circle. So you kind of want to, yeah, 26 and a half. I'm going to go with that. You know, I'm going to say that this is now square. And I am going to double check it. Always, man. Measure twice, cut once, boys and girls. 10 and a half. You see how I'm scribing this arc? I'm trying to see what the maximum is. And try to get it on that. So, not the minimum, rather. The minimum radius would be the accurate radius. Piece of string works too. 10 and a half. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to say that this is where this sucker belongs. Centered here, and now I'm going to scribe a line. And now where a little bit of Japanese ink line might be very handy because it's a much finer line. But I think that we can be more than accurate enough with this approach, with you know, but nice big fat lines, good enough. All right, so I think I got that in the right place. So I'm going to pause the video and consider where I'm going to go next.